A few months ago, a friend of mine was raving about this indie game known as Ratatan coming out. Now, I had not even heard of the game or anything about it. But over the last few weeks, this game hooked me and my friends with its simple yet fun gameplay, very fun aesthetics, and how much teamwork goes into the co-op aspect of the game, while still having a lot of fun solo gameplay. Ratatan was a game kickstarted and developed by indie studio Ratata Arts, and the game is a roguelike rhythm game where you control a Ratatan that commands little creatures called Kobans to attack waves of enemies and unique bosses to get to the ever after. Now, connoisseurs of the PlayStation Portable might look at this and say, hey, doesn't that game look like Patapon? And you'd be correct. This game was made to be a spiritual successor to the popular PSP game, and the similarities are obvious if you played both games. They're both rhythm action games. You have the fever bar, you are commanding little creatures to do attacks or retreat or whatever else. And you're just fighting off against waves of enemies, and yeah, there's a lot of similarities. As it is a spiritual successor to Patapon, there are a lot of similarities, but that does not mean you have to be a fan of Patapon to really enjoy Ratatan. It's a common thing in some indie projects where they make a spiritual successor to a game that does have its fans, maybe even a cult following, but isn't as popular as most other games, and it feels like they can only be enjoyed by people who are really fans of that other game. An example, at least in my opinion, is the game Anton Blast. By no means do I think Anton Blast is a bad game. In fact, I really like Anton Blast. But I feel like it only truly appeals to people who are fans of Wario Land 4, a late Game Boy Advance game, which, by the way, is one of the best GBA games. Please play it if you haven't already. I bring this up because, as much as the one person I heard this game from was really a big fan of Patapon, I don't think you had to have played Patapon to enjoy this game to the fullest. I played this with a group of 3 other friends, and only one of us has played Patapon before. Despite that, I think what hooked me and my friends, aside from my friend really enjoying it, is the simple to understand yet difficult to master gameplay. Ratatan, as I said, is a rhythm-based game. The way the game works is that you have action commands, and you have to time it to the rhythm of the game's music to perform the actions. The actions include rallying your Kobans, attacking with them, doing 1 or 2 special attacks, a guard move, and a jump move. Now, in Patapon, all you move are the little creatures that you control, but in this game you're actually in control of the Ratatan giving commands. As such, not only is your Koban's survival in battle a concern, so is your own. You see, another aspect of Ratatan is being able to dodge or defend against enemies, as if your Ratatan goes down, your Kobans are completely helpless and could not do anything unless you're revived or your entire team goes down. This adds an extra very exciting layer to each battle, as you need to be careful of not just whether your Kobans are attacking, but whether you're in a dangerous position. You might think then the strategy is just to hang back and let your Kobans do all the work for you, and sometimes that works. But other times, especially during the boss battles, the enemies like to move all around the arena and do long-range attacks on you. So you need to be aware of where your enemies are so you're not getting hit. Also, if your Kobans die, then, well, you're defenseless for a little while. And since the rally command has all your Kobans follow you specifically, you sometimes must jump into the fighting to make sure your Kobans are in a good position to attack the enemies. Also, as you level up your Ratatan, you occasionally get your own attacks that you can do on enemies, such as fireballs or ice balls, to deal damage to either burn or freeze enemies. So there are plenty of reasons for your Ratatan to be in the fray and not just hang back. Now, while your action commands are in time with the rhythm of the music, your actual character's movement is not. You can just move around normally, which is great to make sure you can react normally to enemy moves and attacks. Since your action commands are on the beat of the music, the difficulty of the game comes from being able to read the enemy's moves and attacks, while also maintaining a rhythm. A perfect example is with some of the boss fights. You always have to pay attention to how the boss is moving around the area, or being able to read his movements to predict his next move. This is perfectly shown in the 3rd boss of the game, Lord Rochambeau. While you're not necessarily playing Rochambeau with this boss, he has some very distinct moves: electric, fire, water, and a slash attack. For the water and slash attack, you have to jump to avoid it. For the fire attack, it's best to stay beneath the platforms and use your guard abilities to take less damage from the bird. For the electric bolts follow specifically your Ratatan and not your Kobans. So me and my friends found it best to have our Ratatan stick to higher platforms and keep our distance, while having the Kobans stay on low ground and close to the boss so that the electric shocks are not in anyone's way. All the bosses have similar ideas where you have to learn a lot of the patterns to effectively take them down, And another layer to the game is, of course, your equipment and preparation for these stages and bosses. Like I said, Ratatan is a roguelike. Along the way, you'll get better gear to equip your Kobans with stronger weapons, and you'll even get stronger Kobans. There's a simple crafting system to level up your weapons so that they do a lot more damage, and you can get candies and chocolates to upgrade your passive abilities, donuts to unlock different things you get during your run, like heal fountains and the ability to craft special weapons, and other materials to help craft said weapons. And before each wave, there is a door with a few choices. These choices affect what rewards you'll get at the end of each wave, or if the wave is a mini-boss to give you special gear, or a shop to purchase some items you can buy with the coins you get along the way. As well, there are upgrades to the 6 different elements: water, fire, ice, electric, poison, and wind. But what is nice is that even if you don't get an element you want at the end of a wave, there is still some strategic benefits to picking buffs from the other elements. For example, if you're going for an ice build, but the buff you're given is for poison, you can pick the poison buff that lets you deal extra damage to boss enemies regardless of which attacks you use. Or wind can give you a buff that gives you a chance to get a discount or rebate at shops. So there are reasons to pick other elements even if they don't coincide with the build you're going for that run. Now this all sounds interesting, but there was a few problems I've had with the game so far. When I would co-op with my friends, sometimes we would get desync issues that sometimes would completely end our run. But it was few and far between when it happened. Plus the game has an autosave, so even if something like that would happen, you still keep all the rewards you earned during the run once you reload your save file, so nothing was lost at least. One other problem I had just in general with the game, aside from a few technical issues, is that it's sometimes hard to maintain focus. And I don't mean like it's boring or anything like that, it just means that sometimes, especially with 4 players, there can be so much happening on the screen all at once that it can sometimes be hard to see where you are or where your enemy is or what attacks they're doing, making it difficult to read their attacks entirely. But so far, these are all my real complaints about the game. Of course, this game is in beta, so there are only 5 worlds in the game, and the creator's looking to make more worlds, which is great because, I mean, with only 5 worlds, it can get repetitive after a while. However, one thing that keeps things replayable for me, at least, is all the upgrades and the different builds you can go for. Especially after your first run, you unlock the ability to use different types of Kobans in all of the characters you can play as. There are 8 different types of Kobans, but each character is restricted to using only 2 of them, at least until you complete a run. For example, I completed a run with the Owl character, and now I can use archers with every character. And this helps make for new builds that I want to try, like say combining ninjas with archers, and allows me to upgrade weapons that I didn't use before. So there's still a lot of replayability there until new worlds get announced, so that's great. All in all, Ratatan is a very fun and simple rhythm game that I recommend to anyone, especially if you can play the game with friends. But there's still plenty of fun to have in solo runs. But that's all for now. Thank you all for watching. Peace.